a Purple Friday around these parts, partner. Welcome inside the vault for a Friday Ravens lunch hour live stream. We've got South African viewers tuning in right now. So you know what? Welcome inside the friggin' vault from around the world. How about that? We are so glad that you guys are with us today. We've got a lot to discuss. It is Friday, October 18th. I'm Bobby Trossett alongside Sarah Ellison. And lots to get to today, including a featured guest coming up in about 26 minutes from right now. It is Fox Sports Buccaneers reporter Greg Auman, who's going to be joining us to help preview Monday Night Football in a Week 7 matchup between the Ravens and Buccaneers in Tampa. Sarah, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm feeling great on this Purple Friday. I've got my pink on instead of purple, but I'm looking forward to talking Bucs Ravens. But I'm mostly looking forward to talking about these new quarterback wide receiver duo rankings, Bobby. I can't even believe that we're here right now.
For sure. Yeah, I would call it like a full circle moment, but it's not full circle because they've never been here before. So I guess that's what, a 180?
Something like 180.
Troy Aikman.
It's brand new, so we don't know how to handle it.
It's very brand new. And ESPN put together, courtesy of Dan Orlovsky and Harry Douglas, two former players, their top 5 quarterback wide receiver duos. So that's what we're referencing. Troy Aikman on top of that gave the Ravens wide receivers a very random out of left field, but complimentary compliment, that's for sure. And so we have that. We have takeaways from press conferences that have taken place this week on both sides, the Baltimore and the Tampa Bay perspective, and a number of other things, including Tyus Bowser, Sarah, speaking out on what took place last year that kept him away from the football field. So without further ado, what do you want to get into first in terms of this wide receiver conversation that's all of a sudden gone to the national ranks?
Well, real quick, I just looked up South Africa. I looked at Johannesburg. It's 6:05 p.m. right there. So it's a good time. Good time to log in. We got you. We're here in the East Coast. We're getting you through the lunch hour. If you're in Johannesburg, we're getting you through the dinner hour. So
I was going to say, we may have to just strip this whole label of Ravens lunch hour live stream, because if Shan literally says he's tuning in from South Africa and you have the timestamp that you just gave us, that's not exactly accurate. It's a dinner hour. So if the vault continues to go global, like we're flirting with here, we know we just heard from somebody in our email, matter of fact, and I might as well just bring this up briefly here off the cuff, because Bernardo is tuning in from Portugal. And he emailed us 16 hours ago. So maybe we'll have to do some fine-tuning on the back end.
It's hard in Portugal or Bom dia. I don't know what time it is right now. It's probably Boatard. But, okay.
Well, here we go. Nigeria. It's 5 o'clock in Nigeria. So needless to say, we appreciate you guys for being here, regardless of whether you're in the Baltimore area or not. And hit us up in the live chat right now so we can get a good feel in terms of where you're tuning in from today.
The Vault Power Hour. I like that from Tila. Now, listen, I haven't heard what Troy Aikman has said about the Ravens wide receivers. Why don't we start there and get into, you said it was like a random compliment. Let's hear it.
Okay, good deal. So Troy is going to be in the booth, of course, on Monday night. So that's what this stems from. He's prepping for his ESPN Monday night call coming up in Week 7 with Joe Buck in the booth. And he appeared on, I think, The Ticket. I want to say DFW The Ticket down in Dallas. And he just torched what's going on with the Cowboys wide receivers right now. There's a lot to torch down there because, quite frankly, they're flirting with disaster. But watch the Ravens compliment that gets snuck in the middle of this 60-second or so clip from his recent radio hit.
Terrible. I think they run terrible routes, and I've thought that beyond this year. And I think CeeDee's got to improve in his route running. And as a quarterback, if you're not certain where guys are going to be consistently, it's hard to play the position. And so that's what I see. I see guys lazy coming off the line of scrimmage. Sometimes they run. Usually, if they do, it's because they're anticipating they're going to get the football in that play. But if they're not, they don't, and it all ties together. And so, I'm not impressed with that part of it. I just finished watching the Baltimore Ravens because I have them this week. You put on a film of theirs and watch their receivers run routes, and they come off the football. And so do San Francisco's and Green Bay's and others. But it's hard to play the position if you're not certain how guys are going to run routes or where they're going to be. And I'm not speaking for Dak. Dak may say, hey, I think everything's amazing, but as a former quarterback watching it, it's got to get a lot better.
And a former quarterback being highly critical there, Sarah, of his former team. So,
Right.
that's on top of it's kind of a multi-blow comment there if you're a Dallas fan. But here's the quote from John Machota. I just finished watching the Baltimore Ravens because I have them this week, Troy said. You put on film of theirs and watch their receivers run routes, and they come off the football, and he went on to compliment a couple of other teams. But as you referenced right off the top, for the Ravens to come to mind first, and maybe again, this is fresh in his mind because he's watching the tape, getting ready for Monday Night Football. But for the Ravens to even be in this conversation, given their history, that's what's exciting about this, and that's what's noteworthy.
Bobby, it's usually somebody talking about the Ravens wide receivers the way he's talking about the Cowboys wide receivers. And then he puts, I'm assuming he's talking about Zay and Bateman, maybe Nelly in there a little bit. And it's like they get off the ball. Let's look at this, Bobby. According to Next Gen Stats, the Ravens have 4 of the top 15 average separation through week 6. So maybe he's also talking about the tight ends. Mark Andrews is number 5 in separation. Zay Flowers, number 13. Rashad Bateman, 14. Isaiah Likely, 15. So, yeah, I'm sure as a quarterback, he can see, oh, those receivers are open. I like that. Whereas these Cowboys aren't getting it done. And as we know, on top of it, on ESPN Get Up yesterday, oh, hello, Dan Orlovsky and Harry Douglas, they give their top 5 quarterback wide receiver duos. Bobby, I can't even believe this is our life. He's got Lamar and Zay Flowers at number 4. He's got them ahead of let's see, Darnold and Jefferson out with the Vikings, just behind Mayfield and Evans. And by the way, Evans is a stud. We've got to face him. I'm sure we'll talk about him in a little bit. Burrow and Chase, they have it too, but I think only because they're not winning. And then number 1, they have Stroud and Collins in Houston. But is this my Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs Ravens? Like, are we in some bizarro world? Like literally, Bobby, literally from the inception of the franchise, there has never been a Pro Bowler from the Ravens as a wide receiver. There was a wide receiver that went once, but as a returner. There has never been a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Still not there. Can Zay get it done this year? Can he get it done? But what respect? Maybe Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers will bump in here. We'll see how they do. But to have Zay Flowers and your 2-time MVP, the offense leading the way for a defensive historic franchise, it's just something that we've been literally waiting for forever since the inception of the team.
Here's the ESPN breakdown of why Zay and Lamar ended up ranking 4th. And this is Harry Douglas speaking.
Number 4, we're going to go to Baltimore. Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers, when he came out in the draft last year, was my favorite wide receiver. He reminds me of a faster, more twitchier Stephon Diggs. The speed, the releases off the line of scrimmage, the way he provides himself, catches the football with his hands, but if he needs to do it with his body, he's able to do that. I love this combination between those 2 guys.
Been killing the last 2 weeks.
And he's coming for that 1,000-yard receiving season, finished with 858 in his rookie season, Sarah, and is looking like he is well on pace to hit that number in year 2. And there is no such thing of a sophomore slump as far as Zay Flowers is concerned, particularly these last couple weeks for number 4.
No, sir. And Ryan Mink of the Baltimore Ravens website caught up with both Zay and Bateman for a story that he did yesterday. Really good job. And obviously, Devontae Adams was on the trading block for a couple of weeks. He made it known that he wanted to leave the Raiders. And so right on cue. And we were right there with him, fans asking, should the Ravens get Devontae Adams? Well, we now know he's headed to the Jets. But Flowers and Bateman surely heard calls for Davante Adams. And so Ryan asked Bateman about what it means to him, how it feels to know that once again, Eric DaCosta and the Ravens organization is showing faith in him, right? Because they just extended him despite injuries that got him off to a slow start. So how does it feel that they didn't even bite on the Davante Adams apple? And Bateman says it feels good. But there's a lot that goes into things besides me and Zay and how we play. I don't want to say that me and Zay are the reason why the trade for Adams didn't happen, but the Ravens do believe in us. I think they're proving that. And I think we've proven that we believe in ourselves and our teammates believe in us. Me and Zay always say that whatever opportunities come our way, we got to make sure we capitalize on them. I know Zay had back-to-back 100-yard games, but we may not always see that in our offense. That's nobody's fault. We just want to do whatever we can to help the team win. We're ready whenever our number is called, and we've been showing out, close quote. Bobby, I'm going to get to some other quotes, but I want to get your thoughts. What do you think he means? Like, it's not just about me and Zay, the reason why we didn't trade for Adams.
Well, I think it speaks to what's going on internally here, that they feel like they can be a trio of some kind. And the fact that he feels like he's got organizational belief and backing behind him, you talk about a full circle moment, or a 180, I guess is the correct reference, because it wasn't all that long ago, Sarah, that Eric was calling out the front office, or Rashad was calling out the front office, and there was tension there and some friction. And so now it's like, yeah, we're going to pass on, and we don't know terms of just how much or little they checked in on Davante, right? But they were out there. The Ravens' name were at least out in some initial reports,
potentially by the agents to try to create, because from Baltimore reporters, it from the beginning said Ravens weren't in on it. You would always hear it from the national reporters who may have been speaking to Davante Adams' agent. So we don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And so, with that in mind, I'm sure it feels great that there's this two-way street of belief and buy-in here.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that play out statistically so far. Even if it is complimentary so far for Rashad, that's a step in the right direction for where he's been in recent years. He's healthy, and we all know that Zay just continues to stack games here, and the chemistry that he and Lamar have, second to none in Baltimore, aside from obviously what he's had over the years in Mark Andrews.
Well, I think this quote from Bateman on why the Ravens didn't trade for Adams shows some self-awareness. Like, he was like, it's not just because of how me and Zay play. I think he's referring to the fact that the offense is built around Lamar and Derrick Henry, and then the passing game is built off of that. And so if that's what he means, that's my interpretation of it. To me, it's like, holy cow, you got self-awareness. Just like Zay yesterday when we played his clip, where he's like, yeah, you may be overlooking me, but it's because we have one Derrick Henry, But it's crazy because none of that matters, because if Derrick is being successful, they're going to be successful too.
Sure.
Because they're going to get all these one-on-ones, and then they can really eat. Now,
Sarah, if that is the case too for Rashad along the self-awareness lines, we've seen that time and time again in interviews that he's given in the last 6 months or so, especially since the extension came to fruition for him. So I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. And so you also remember yesterday from the reception perception, we put up that tweet where he's like, my lawyers told me I'm legally obligated to let you know that Bateman, what was it? Like, he gets separation like on 82% of his passing routes. So Ryan asked Bateman about how well he's been playing and getting separation. And Bateman says, it's just a product of work ethic and being able to be on the field. But I've been getting open. And when you get the targets, opinions start to change. I was hindered by injuries, talking about his past. I wasn't able to showcase what I could do. I don't care if I'm in year 4 with a contract extension. In my head, this is my rookie year. I'm young. I'm 24. Knowing me and my work ethic, I'm going to continue to get better, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. Then he goes on to talk about how much Odell Beckham Jr., who was here for just a year, how much his advice on how to deal with injuries really encouraged him and helped him out. So Bateman said, well, Odell said, I am who I am. I have a deep understanding of that. The outside world can say what they want. Your peers, your family, the people you work for, it doesn't matter. As long as you know what you're capable of, nobody can take that away from you. So that's good to hear that he's getting like this inner self-confidence. He's treating this as if it's his rookie year. Then this is my favorite kind of part, both Zay and Flowers. Flowers started talking about, he says, quote, when I look across and I see Bate run a nasty route or burn somebody, I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I got to get me one. I feel like Bate does the same thing when I catch one. So they use each other as friendly competition, right? Iron sharpens iron type of thing. Then Ryan writes, Bateman and Flowers hope to be teammates for a long time, helping the Ravens win championships as two receivers who grew together in the same organization. But Bateman is staying in the present, taking each week an opportunity as it comes. When the Ravens are riding a 4-game winning streak, he likes the way the offense is trending and thinks the best is yet to come. Says Bateman, I feel like we're in a flow. I wouldn't be able to do what I've done without Zay. He wouldn't do what he does without Derrick Henry. And none of us would be able to do it without Lamar. A lot of people stat watch, but we're all doing what we can to elevate the team. I think we're starting to see it across the league now. Teams have a tandem of talented young receivers. Hopefully we can start building that with Lamar. It's fun. We push each other. Zay's my bro. I'm his bro. Me and Zay are out here having fun, and we definitely believe in our wide receiver room against anybody. Bobby, when you have a quarterback that is paid among the top in the league, as Lamar should be, he deserves every penny. When that happens, you do have to find deals elsewhere. And the fact of the matter is, the Ravens are going to have Bateman and Zay together another 3 years, especially if you get the 5th-year option on Zay, for cheap. And if they can continue where, like, I like his vision. Zay and Bateman like each other. They love Lamar. They love what's happening in this offense. Their vision is obviously take it day by day, but overall, they want to develop into a trio that can stick around for a while, which the Ravens will need because they're not going to be able to. Well, even if they were able to, the Ravens never spend at wide receiver. They've literally never spent a lot at wide receiver. But even more so, you don't expect it. I don't expect it with Lamar. Whether or not you think they should or shouldn't, that's a different discussion. But the fact of the matter is we know their history. And now with Lamar getting paid, as he should be, you need to find bargains. And the fact that you've got 2 wide receivers that are finally coming together. And Lamar, and I love that Dan Orlovsky said it was Zay and Lamar that are one of the top duos. But if you can get Bateman in there as he's been coming alive, we're seeing the separation. We're seeing him constantly open. This is where you want it to be trending. And this is the moment Baltimore has been waiting for in their wide receiver room.
I continue to believe that if this trio that you're seeing on the screen for those of you in the on-camera space here, if this trio is going to continue to work, and it's been a small sample size of with them all 3 of them clicking, right? It's been a very small sample size. Then I think the key to allowing this to last has been and will be the Rashad Bateman self-awareness angle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lamar and Zay are getting all the pub, rightfully so. They're now named a top 5 wide receiver quarterback duo, like we just mentioned. Zay's on track for 1,000 yards. He had a stellar rookie year for all intents and purposes, right? But Bate, being that he had been there, done that, not gotten to those numbers, right? Not had the success that Zay's had right out of the gate. But being that he's been around in the building, he's been a former first-round pick. He's been here longer than Zay. For him to kind of like not use any of that as a way of one-upping Zay or not being able to flourish together as a trio, not taking away from anything that they're doing from a selfishness standpoint, that is a lot more than self-awareness. That's being a teammate. And I think if this continues to go in this direction, we got to remember that Rashad has been a polarizing figure, and some of it has been brought on by himself. So elsewhere, a lot of it's been brought out and made out to be maybe a little bit bigger than it is by certain members of the fan base. But make no mistake, if this trio is going to be a key factor from a wide receiver standpoint and a passing game standpoint in this town, I think Rashad's going to deserve some flowers here throughout the way.
Absolutely. And listen, Bateman, we talked about him a lot. He was definitely under fire. He has been under fire, and he hasn't fully arrived yet, right? Like, we like where the trajectory is. We hope to see consistency. But I felt like in this offense this year, his ceiling was around 800 to 850 yards for the season, based off of all the other guys that are eating. And I think he's on his way to doing that. I think he's on track for like around 750 right now. If he's at the 750 to 800 yard mark, Bobby, with the way Lamar's playing, with the way Derrick Henry's playing, with the way Zay and the two tight ends are playing, that's exactly what the Ravens need. That's exactly what the Ravens need. So good on him. And let's see if this can continue. Oh, one last thing I'll say, though. I'm a little bit worried about depth. If one of these two goes down, it could be a problem. So I'm still a little concerned about depth. But for now, these two guys are healthy. And as long as they stay healthy, this is a nice wide receiver duo.
That's exactly why our friend Dre Dog, who joined me on my personal live stream yesterday, was pushing for when I put out the question to the live audience. Which position are you going after acquisition wise between now and the trade deadline? And he was pushing for a wide receiver because of, knock on wood, the chance of that happening. Where would you be if one of the two of Zay and Rashad were to be unavailable? And I thought that was a good point, even though I was looking on the defensive side of the ball, as I've mentioned before. Shall we get to some super chat from DMV Nation? He's always dropping things in. Appreciate you, DMV. Thanks for the $10 donation. We've got over 1,200 of you concurrently joining us on this Friday, so would love for you to drop a like on the way in or way out, depending on what your schedule is all about today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit us up and check us out in the audio-only space. And as always, you can always reach out to us via email, as a lot of you have been doing recently, at BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com. Should we get to some press conference takeaways before we bring Greg in to help us preview Monday night?
Yeah, we'll get through a couple here, and then maybe he'll join in right before we get into some of their comments about the upcoming matchup. But Lamar Jackson is always, the guy you got to lead with. We're talking about Thursday pressers in this case instead of Wednesday. And Lamar was asked a lot of questions about the success he and the team have been having. He's asked about his NFC record. He's asked about how to not get too full of him, the team not get too full of the hype because of how well everybody's been talking about them, and how well the offense is churning. Lamar, I know Lamar. He downplayed every single question. Here's a small compilation of 3 of those questions in a row.
Talk about this, but you're 22-1 against the NFC.
Come on, Jameson.
Why is that? People want to know. What, from your perspective, why have you been so dominant against the NFC?
Just all around team effort, game planning. Probably just because we've seen each other once a year, so it's like hard to game plan for us. So a little bit of everything.
Just to pause it. He's like, don't start throwing out stats around here. He's like, come on, man, let's not be doing this. Let's not put out there 22-1. But if he goes 23-1, I'm going to tweet that right after the game, Bobby.
Yeah. How can he not?
Let's keep going.
Manage when all that hype, I guess, starts building again.
I know how I feel to be 0-2. So I really don't care about the hype, and not just being 0-2. I just know how the NFL works. It's any given Sunday. So I'm not finna dwell on an MVP trophy or anything like that. I never have. Even when I won it, I never dwelled on it. It was about me just trying to win each and every game I'm in. And same thing from now. I'm still trying to win these games to get to February and win in February. I mean, people gonna say whatever they want to say. We were just 0-2, and we was the worst offense in the league. So, just being 4-2 right now, people gonna still say whatever they're gonna say. Because it can be a game we can come out with a win, but an ugly offensive game, and they'll say, it's the worst offense. So it's like each and every week is gonna be something different. We just got to focus on trying to be the best Raven offense that the Ravens ever had.
Yeah, he's not gonna start feeling himself. He's not going to start feeling the team. They are keeping focused one game at a time. Don't tell me I'm 22-1 against the NFC. Don't tell me we're one of the best, offenses in the league right now. So it's smart of him and the rest of the league or the rest of the team to go back to week 2. Remember how they felt, because that's what he said. They're like, how do you make sure you don't get caught up in the hype? He's like, well, we were just at 0-2. We remember how that feels. It's not that hard. So keep yourself in that space as if you're always trying to climb out of a hole. And that's how you can kind of keep yourself level-headed and keep moving forward without getting too full.
I thought for a second he was gonna Bill Belichick Jameson there, like we're on to Cincinnati, keep it like, come on, Jameson, then just move forward. But he actually answered the question
did
to his
answer it.
credit.
Yeah.
So
That's
there
nice.
you have it. Let's get the Buccaneers perspective. And actually, Greg has been on the show before. It was a couple years ago during the 2022 season. I was checking our timestamps. Greg is now with Fox Sports. He's covering the entire NFL. He's been on a Tampa beat, though, since 2013. So he knows this team inside and out, and he's kind enough to join us right now inside the vault on a Purple Friday here inside the vault. Greg, great to see you again. And as always, we appreciate you for carving out some time.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah. What's the state of this team? I mean, we've seen the 51 burger. We've seen that. We also understood that it was hard to understand this, but you put up 51 points with your quarterback throwing 3 interceptions. It's kind of like mind-boggling. So just give us a sense, the state of the Bucs entering week 7.
Yeah, I mean, I think things were wobbly there in that last game. I mean, you're up 17-0, and then you blink and it's 20-17 and you're down. And then they flipped a switch and kind of went to their run game and obviously pulled away to a big win. So no, I mean, I think they're tied for the division lead. They're entering this really crazy stretch where their next 4 games are 3 teams that played in the conference championship games last year. Ravens, Niners, Chiefs, and the Falcons, who are their main competition here in the South. So a really big 4 game. If they go 2-2 in those 4 games, and one of them is the Falcons, they're probably happy with that. No, I think they're trying to find themselves. Last year they came out of the gates 3-1 and had that massive slide where they dropped 6 out of 7. And I think they're just trying to avoid that, just trying not to, have such an up and down year like they had a year ago. So at home Monday night against the Ravens, it's, probably one of the biggest challenges on their schedule. They go to Arrowhead in a couple of weeks. It's probably worse, but tough game and just a game they want to play well in, if not win.
Hey, Greg, can you take us kind of back to kind of educate us who don't follow the Bucs on a daily basis of Baker kind of taking over after the Tom Brady years? I know from the outside, it's like, well, Tom Brady's gone. They're going to have to, really struggle for a while. And the last time we saw Baker in the AFC North, obviously he was shipped off in favor of Deshaun Watson, which, I mean, Baker's got to be laughing every time he goes to sleep. But how has he been able to just keep this organization winning? And where is he today? Like this resurgence after he was written off by Cleveland.
Yeah, Baker's in a good place. To think about where things were, 14 months ago, he had bounced to 3 teams in a year. Even though he came to the Bucs on a 1-year, $4 million deal, every sense of a prove it type deal. And to his credit, I think it takes a certain kind of quarterback to take over a team from Tom Brady. He's never lacked for confidence. And I think he really, again, this is a team that embraced him. I think he won over this team for different reasons than Tom did. Tom, I think, had the resume, had the approach, had the aura of who he was. And Baker's just a kind of an everyman type who's going to hang out with the offensive linemen and the defense and try and out hustle everybody. And to his credit, again, I mean, they win a division title last year when very few people expected it. I think to be where they are now, even after Baker could have gone free agency instead of a 1-year, $4 million deal. It's 3 years and $100 million. So he's kind of reestablished himself as an NFL starter. And even with that, I don't know that they had a lot of respect nationally. I don't think there was the expectation. I think most of the odds makers and pundits probably picked the Falcons to be the team to beat. And the Falcons beat them. So far that's kind of played out. But no, I think Baker's somebody who's very motivated to, even though he's gotten this deal and kind of won over things here in Tampa, constantly motivated to want to, answer his doubters and his critics and prove people wrong. Obviously, he's played the Ravens a lot. I think he's 3-6 in his career against the Ravens. So, I mean, it's a trip back for him, back to the old division and a defense. I think there's probably a little bit of carryover from the guys that he's faced twice a year going back to like 22. Had high praise, was going through their defense on the podium yesterday, talking about they have elite level players at all 3 stages, to talk about, obviously Madubuike up front, to have Roquan in the middle, to have guys like Humphrey and, the safeties they have. I think he knows this defense well. this is his first chance to go up against them with this team and the weapons he has now.
And here he is. I mean, this is a top 10 offense, as you see on the screen here, and the second ranked scoring offense in this entire league. So for the Ravens, it's been back-to-back weeks here of just, high-powered offenses. And we got to see Jaden Daniels and the Commanders last weekend. But Greg, his go-to guy, Mike Evans, there's some concerns about his hamstring, at least to the point where he sat out during Wednesday's practice. So we'll kind of have to see. I mean, we get it. It's early in the Monday Night Football week, right? It's a Friday for most teams, but it's a Thursday technically today for teams that play on Monday night. And we are going to have a doubleheader, by the way, coming up on Monday.
Yeah.
But what are you hearing about Mike? Did it happen on Sunday last weekend? What's going on with Mike Evans?
Yeah, Mike has pushed through injuries this season. Like 2 weeks ago, he was listed with a knee and a calf, and then was kind of healthy the past week. I do think he hurt himself in Sunday's game. If you look at even the first play of the game, he catches a pass and is slow to get up. He's had hamstring injuries for a long time. So I think this is something where he kind of pushed through it. But if you watch Mike in that game, he kind of looked like a decoy. He looked like somebody just running routes, even on plays where, like, the Saints had an interception. He's chasing after defenders, but more like they dropped their wallet, not like he's trying to catch them or something like that. So again, I think Mike, they're going to be really careful with this week. To watch him today, he's just working on the side with a trainer. So he might practice tomorrow. That they know who he is. They know what he can do. So it might be that he doesn't practice at all and he still goes on Monday. I think they'll be smart with him. They're not going to run a ton of deep balls with him in that hamstring as it is, but I think they can be smart with him, kind of limit his plays. He's as good a red zone guy as there is. Kind of that's been his bread and butter with Baker, is just the short yardage, lob and fade to the corner, that kind of stuff. He can still do that. So I don't know how they'll use him. I don't think it'll be 70 snaps on Monday night, but I think they'll find a way to use him in his current state and try. I mean, his next catch is his 100th career touchdown catch. So, I mean, the chance to do that at home on Monday night in a big game against a team like Baltimore, I'm sure, means a lot to him for sure.
Greg, if you were the Ravens defense, how would you attack this Bucs offense? When I look at the Bucs offense, they just look very balanced. From the running attack to these wide receivers to Baker coming alive. So what would you, usually we're always just like stop the run and everything else can go. Is there anything beyond that, beyond the typical NFL formula? How would you attack the Bucs offense?
Yeah, it's something of a new offense. They're on their second new coordinator in 2 years. They've had 6 games now with Liam Cohen. Their run game, Bucs running game was dead last in the NFL in yards and yards per carry each of the last 2 seasons. So to have them, run for 277 as they did on Sunday is not the norm. They did that without Rachaad White, who's been their leading rusher the last 2 years. So you have 2 young backs, a rookie named Bucky Irving, a second-year guy named Sean Tucker that went off Sunday. Tucker was NFC Offensive Player of the Week after I think he had 53 yards in a season and change in his career before that game. So I'll be curious. I think you're absolutely right about offensive balance. I think they take a lot of pride in that. When they went crazy for whatever it was, 594 yards on the Saints, it was like 300 passing and 277 rushing. So, the very balance you want. Not having Evans at full go means a ton of Chris Godwin. He's top 5 in the NFL in yards, catches, and touchdowns right now. I'm sure that'll be the priority. If they realize that Mike Evans isn't full go Mike Evans, I think the next priority is containing Chris Godwin. To look at the math of it, the Ravens have the number 1 run defense in the NFL. I think they're like 29th in pass defense. So they're asking you to throw at them. Mm-hmm. But I think the Bucs are coming off a lot of confidence in the run game. They're going to try and actually win the line of scrimmage, establish the run, not let themselves be seen as one-sided or unbalanced as an offense. Baker had 3 picks last week. 2 of them on deflections, but he had 2 the entire season before that. So, yeah, their bread and butter is going to be diversity, balance, a lot of pre-snap motion and misdirection. To look at what they've done, I'll be curious to see how they use those 3 backs, because Rachaad White has been the starter for 2 years until Bucky Irving got the start on Sunday. And then Bucky even kind of got overwritten by Sean Tucker going for whatever was 192 yards rushing and receiving. So I think they're going to have 3 backs they're trying to interchange in there. They have a pony package, they call it, where there's 2 backs in the game at the same time. They'll usually flare one out as a receiver. That's worked really well for them. And I think they'll probably have more of that, since all 3 of those are guys they're trying to get on the field. But no, they're not an easy team in terms of if you take this guy away, you got him solved.
And shout out Sean Tucker, too. That's a Calvert Hall guy. That's a
That's right.
Baltimore guy around these parts. So shout out him. He had a heck of a game.
We talked to
But,
him yesterday. He was saying he grew up absolutely a Ravens guy, went to games. This will be, I think his folks back home are very much Ravens. Obviously, they're rooting for him on Monday night. But if they weren't playing the Bucs, they're wearing Ravens gear. They're pulling for the Ravens for sure.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if you've been to the facility, Greg, but it's in a town called Owings Mills. That's where he was born.
Right.
So the guy was literally born right around the corner, which is a kind of a cool story there, even though the game's being played in Tampa. And you hate to lean too heavily on statistical rankings and whatnot 6 weeks into a season, but the 31st ranked pass defense that you referenced for Baltimore up against the 28th ranked pass defense for Tampa, you get the sense this might be a high scoring one. But let's flip it from what Sarah just asked you. And when you look at what this duo has been so far through 6 weeks, it's just been lethal. Cincinnati found out the hard way about stacking the box. They did a darn good job through 4 quarters on Derrick Henry containing him, but then he rips off a 51-yard, which ended up, kind of being the game winner to put Justin Tucker in a position to win it with the chip shot. So, and then what, obviously, if you're gonna not sell out the run, what he's going to do to you. We've all seen that for 10 plus years in this league. What is Tampa saying defensively about game planning?
Oh, I mean, I think there's a lot of respect for the run first. I think Baltimore's won the last 5 in this series, so that they know who he is. They're getting healthy at the line of scrimmage. They win a couple games without Vita Vea. They win 5 games without Kalijah Kancey, their 2 best D linemen. They'll have them both. They're both healthy. That helps with that. I think the Todd Bowles defense has done fairly well against Derrick Henry. They've played him 3 times. I think it's like 135 yards in 3 games, under 4 yards a carry. So relatively speaking, they've kept them in check. It doesn't mean they can do that on Monday. Lamar is 3-0 against this team, has handled them pretty well. So no, I think there's absolutely a healthy respect. I got to go up to Baltimore last year for the AFC Championship game and see him in person there. Really good offense. Todd Monken's a guy who was here in Tampa. There's a lot of respect for him here. 2 years ago, I think they were we're trying to get Monken to be there, bring him back as the OC here, and it's something where I think he had a good situation there in Baltimore and correctly anticipated what that would be. But lots of familiar faces on both sides here. Josh Johnson, you go back a long time with Josh Johnson here in Tampa. But no, like I said, I think this defense is very aware of the challenge that they bring. And that definitely starts with the run. I mean, I think they're outrushing their opponents by more than 100 yards a game. That's a really good recipe for sustained success.
Monken's we're already hearing noise about Monken being a popular guy for maybe another head coaching candidacy. So we're trying to like succeed, but not that much, Monk. We want to keep him around as he's unlocked a lot here in Baltimore. Can you give me some context really quick? Just I haven't been able to watch him very much. Baker's interceptions, are they due to poor decision making, or is it like deflections? Like, what's the context behind his interceptions?
Yeah, only had 2 in the first 5 weeks was great, and then 3 in the first half Sunday against the Saints. One of them's on him, just a bad throw, bad read, wasn't accounting for somebody. The other 2 are deflections. One, a low pass. It almost looked like it bounced, but it was a low pass, and the receiver put his hands underneath it and let it bounce off his hands to a safety. So it's a deflection, but it's a bad pass. And then the other pass was a throw at the line of scrimmage. 1 D lineman batted it up, and Cameron Johnson intercepted it. So it's deflected by the defense.
So he's not being reckless.
Right. It kind of weird plays. They weren't just, throws directly to a defender or something like that. He's been really good in keeping his mistakes and his turnovers in check. The first 5 games, obviously 3 picks. There's not many times you're going to win a game throwing 3 picks. No, I think I believe Baltimore is much tougher with the fumbles than they are the interceptions so far this year. So that's something they have to be aware of. But Bucs, I mean, for the most part, have kept their turnovers fairly in check this season. But again, you have 3 to overcome in 1 week. It'll be a priority this week for them, not doing that again against a tougher team on Monday.
Greg, I know you got a tight window here in between practice and whatnot. So how about we get you out of here on this one matchup more so than anything else that you're looking for on Monday night? And if you are willing, a prediction.
I think it's the interior defensive line. up against Baltimore's interior, the running between the tackles. If Baltimore is able to do that with consistency, it's going to be a long night for Tampa. So it starts with Vita Vea as just a big body clogging 2 gaps in the middle. Again, you don't want to say you want to force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball, but they have to be throwing more than running is what I would say is the Bucs' goal. So no, I think it starts there. I go into this thinking Baltimore probably wins a close game, 31-27, 34-31, something like that. But again, this Bucs team has surprised me in both directions already this season. So it wouldn't surprise me too much if they pulled something off.
Greg, we appreciate the time as always. You're now with Fox Sports. You can be followed on X or Twitter at Greg. Is Auman or Auman?
Auman, you got it right. You're good.
Auman, okay, cool.
Auman,
Anything else that you'd like to plug before Monday night besides
No. Again, we lots of copy at Fox Sports. We just did a bunch of potential trades coming up. Power rankings. The big thing for Fox this week is Chiefs 49ers, just because the Super Bowl rematch is on Fox with Tom Brady. After this game, not after this game, sorry, Sunday at the 4:00 window. I got too many games going on in my head here. So lots about Chiefs and Niners and the Super Bowl rematch and everything there. But thank you guys again for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you, Greg.
Appreciate it, Greg. Enjoy it. Monday night should be a good one. And Greg, kind enough, Sarah, to get back with us here inside the vault. We did it in 2022, I believe, and we did it just now. So go hit him up on X or Twitter for the Buccaneers. Follow. Covers teams outside of Tampa as well for Fox Sports at Greg Auman. So, yeah. Shall we get back to press conferences?
Well, should we do our predictions real quick just to finish up the whole segment altogether?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be another, as you said, high-scoring potential shootout. It'd be nice. You just never know which version of the Ravens secondary is going to show up. I think it's very interesting what he said. Even if Mike Evans does play, it doesn't sound like he's going to be 100%. He said that oftentimes he was used last week as a decoy. That will obviously help the Ravens secondary out. John Harbaugh mentioned earlier this week that they play a lot of man coverage. They don't try to put safeties over the top to give their corners a lot of help. And so if Mike Evans is limited, I mean, somebody like Brennan Stevens or Nate Wiggins on him, that certainly will help them out. But it's still Mike Evans. You got to watch those fades as Nate Wiggins learned this week. So I think it could be a shootout. I just don't see their defense being able to slow this Ravens offense. I mean, Bobby, we have it right here. They're ranked 26 overall in defense, 11 against the rush, and 20 against the pass. He said their defense coordinator has stopped Derrick Henry before. And we've actually heard a lot of people saying that. Well, we've had success before. Like I've had Kansas City Chiefs people tell me that about Derrick. It's like, I get it. But you haven't stopped Derrick and Lamar before. It's a different animal. So I do see the Ravens offense being able to score a ton. I think the Ravens defense is going to give up a lot of yards. If they can get a turnover, the Ravens can capitalize on it. A team like who did they blow out last week? Was it the Saints?
New Orleans, yep.
Yeah, the Saints aren't equipped to take advantage of 3 interceptions. They're just not equipped to play well right now. They're with their backup quarterback, all that. The Ravens are able to get an interception. Then the offense is going to take advantage. So I'm taking the Ravens 34-27. I think, both will get their yards. But I think the Ravens will be able to pull ahead and keep Baker and those really tough wide receivers. Their duo might be Godwin and Evans, especially when healthy, has got to be one of the top in the league. But with Evans kind of hindered, if you can get, some sort of turnover, I think the Ravens will take advantage. So 34-27.
This is hilarious. Back-to-back weeks where I've already given my prediction on the round table.
Yeah.
And it's so similar to yours when I would typically try to differentiate, but I'm not gonna because I've already said it earlier in the week. 34-28 Ravens.
Woo,
they are just too overwhelming. Yeah, they're too overwhelming offensively. They're gonna put up more points than Tampa. Can the defense hold? Can the defense get a stop when it matters? Can they force Baker Mayfield into, like you were kind of referring to, even though it wasn't necessarily the case in New Orleans? Can you get him to cause or make a reckless decision that leads to a turnover, and can you capitalize on that? The Ravens' third down offense has been damn near unstoppable. Todd has just been cooking up all kinds of different. I think they're going to, whether they get the ball first or not, they're going to march down and put up 3 or 7. Like, that's just how it goes with when they are in scripted format. This is going to be an emotional roller coaster, though, for Tampa. This will be the first time they played at Raymond James since all the hurricanes just ravaged the area down there. So this will be highly emotional. It means something a little bit more, perhaps, for the Buccaneers and their fan base. So I expect the place to be rocking. By the way, Joe Flacco is going to be on the Manning cast. So this is going to be a pretty big night. Yeah.
Is Manning cast covering both games? Like, I'm wondering if Flacco will be on for the Ravens game. They would have to do that, right? Like, they'd be smart to make sure it's during the Ravens Bucs game.
Yeah, I would assume that they won't simulcast. They won't double simulcast Monday night games, meaning since the Chargers, I think, is the second one. Is that the second Monday night game? Don't quote me on that. But whatever the second Monday night game isn't build up to be what this one's supposed to be, which is why I think it's getting that prime time start. So I would expect that Joe's going to be with the Mannings for only the opening game. And so anyway, there's just going to be a lot of fanfare. There's going to be a lot of it's limelight, Monday Night Football. The Ravens always rise to the occasion more often than not in primetime settings. I know this one is away from Baltimore, where they've been utterly dominant under John Harbaugh in primetime games. But this offense is just – I think it would just be unwise of either one of us right now to pick against this team with the way that they're cooking. And that's not to say that –
doing that.
Right? I was going to say, it's not to say that this defense isn't and won't be susceptible to the gunslinger that is Baker Mayfield. I expect him to put up points, which is why I'm going 34-28 Ravens.
The other game is Chargers-Cardinals, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's a 6 o'clock local time start. That's crazy. They got it overlapped there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is definitely Ravens-Bucs is way more exciting than Chargers and Cardinals. They're both Cardinals 2-4, Chargers 3-2. Well, speaking of this offense that we are not predicting against, despite the defensive problems, Lamar, back to the pressers, was asked about what we've covered this week, his mastery of the offense at the line of scrimmage before the snap is even taken. Here's what he had to say on why he's feeling so comfortable there.
I just think my everything is slowing down even more just from the years I've been in the league, and seeing all type of defenses, seeing all type of blitzes. Everything is just second nature right now. So I'm just trying to be a better player myself, each and every year. So I just say everything's just slowing down. That's what's helping it.
Ooh, slowing down for one of the fastest QBs ever. Prime Lamar, give it to me.
I know you were pumping your fist when he answered that question, and when the question itself was asked, being that we spent, considerable amounts of time, to your point, on yesterday's show, and you went back and sort of looked at what his wish was coming off the AFC title game and the loss and the more diverse audible package that he was asking for, and just the command that not only he was yearning for and desiring for, but now has such a throttle, right? He's got such a great understanding of the command, and he's executing with that command. So, it looks like it's going slow for him, and you know what? Hopefully, this is how it's supposed to be. That guy's been in the league for, he might be 27 going on 28 in January, but this dude's in year 7, so you see a lot over that span.
He's Neo in the Matrix, Bobby, where they're shooting bullets at him and he says stop, and then the bullets stop. He sees the Matrix now. That's where we're at. We're at Matrix. Lamar and Benjamin, thank you for your super chat, $5. This version of Lamar can win a Super Bowl. Henry has obviously helped ease the burden from Lamar compared to past years, especially in the playoffs. Totally agree. Now, yesterday we played that clip of Lamar seemingly yelling out, "Got him," on a Rashad Bateman slant. And I said yesterday, hopefully Jonas Schaefer can be the hero of this conference, because he was last week in getting the backstory behind the hating grandma in Cincinnati. What do you know? Jonas steps up again. So I'm going to give you a little reminder of what people were speculating, and then right after it, Lamar will give his answer on whether or not that was him.
Did he just say got him? Did Lamar just say got him?
Good call, hat or higher. Here comes the pressure. 2nd and 9.
He just said, there we go, got him. One more time for the boys in the back.
Here comes the pressure. 2nd and 9.
No, I didn't say that. Okay. I don't know who said it. Somebody probably recorded and said it. Like, it wasn't me, though. I ain't say nothing.
All right. There we go.
I'm just going to throw this out there.
You throw it out.
I'm just going to throw this out there. The last time we were kind of questioning something that was either audio piping through the camera in this case, or in the Dallas case, him saying a few things to the officials. What did he get up and say after the Dallas week? No, I wasn't mad at the officials at all. Lamar's capable of dicing us up. He's dicing up defenders and whatnot, and maybe he's dicing us up here too. I don't know.
Listen, I hear you. I definitely hear you. That being said, he was trying to avoid a fine. This one, it'd be no problem for him to say that. I would think, but who knows? Okay, man. If you watched, Bobby, if you watched Wired this week, I did not pull it in as one of the top 5 clips from yesterday. But after Derrick Henry scored, Justice Hill kept trying to get him to do a touchdown dance. He denied Justice. Derrick Henry, why don't you dance after you score touchdowns?
For the sideline clip of Justice and Keaton kind of giving you a hard time about not dancing.
Every day. Every day.
Why do you not dance? I'm curious.
I told him I should do it when I was in my early stage of my career. My first 2 or 3 years, maybe year 4, I danced a little bit. I'm old now. I'm over it now. I leave the dancing to them. They be ready to dance anytime. I'm like, maybe I'll have y'all dance on the sideline so they can get a glimpse of y'all dancing, but I don't dance. I hand the ball to the ref and let's go to the sideline.
Bobby, that man basically just said, why should I dance? Scoring a touchdown is nothing special. I do it day in and week out. He said he was over it. I used to dance. Now I'm over it. I just hand it to the ref and it's like business as usual. Oh, I scored another touchdown. Business as usual. No need to celebrate. Maybe he'll pull out a dance the same time, Lamar would, which would be the postseason, say like in February.
In this era that we're living in of hyper celebration, and after the play, a lot of times what is nonsense and unnecessary. I can't tell you how refreshing it is that a guy that has 102, to your point, career touchdowns doesn't feel like he has to do anything after reaching the end zone. Doesn't feel like he has to do anything after carving up Cincinnati for that 51-yard overtime run. Doesn't feel like he has to do anything 31 yards almost to the house in Cincinnati to help seal that game, against Washington in the fourth quarter in crunch time last weekend. That is so incredibly refreshing. All he does, take the football, bring it back to the official, go back and continue to demoralize, because that's all he's done through 6 weeks or so. It is so incredibly refreshing.
Well, we've been talking about Derrick Henry and Lamar. We've been pulling their clips. We both know they're from Florida. The Ravens also have Zay Flowers from Florida, Nelly from Florida. And now they're going back to Florida, so they all get to go play in front of their home state. What's up with this Florida connection? What do they got going on between them? Here's Lamar and Derrick.
Breed down there, like just football players, a lot of football players. Don't get me wrong, we have some basketball players here and there, probably some doctors and lawyers, but
I'm dead on that one. Did you hear what he just said?
Probably some doctors and lawyers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. We just breathe football. We got some basketball players. Maybe some doctors and lawyers. I got to play that again. I was dead when I heard him say that.
Players here and there, probably some doctors and lawyers, but so we breed football players, man. It's something we do down there. It's like a big family gathering on Saturdays. Youth football is. It's always been that way from what I've known.
For the boys, I think we just all mesh together well. I don't know. It's just you can't really explain it. But I feel like the Ravens, they like Florida boys, so it's been a thing around here. But yeah, I think it just comes natural.
Those Florida boys, Bobby.
Something to it.
Something to it.
There's been plenty of them. There has been plenty of them. Nelly, Snoop, Derrick, Lamar.
You added one more to the list. I was only able to
get 5. Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, Hollywood. There we go.
There's some on the defensive side of the ball that I'm just forgetting about right now.
Well, I'm thinking back.
Zay, of course. Zay.
We said Zay. Before the clip. But Oh, no. I'm thinking of like Ray and Ed playing for the University of Miami, but they're not from Florida. But there is some of that. There's something down in that water in Florida for football.
No
I think
doubt.
Lamar's right. All right. Well, he was also obviously asked. Lamar was asked about going up against Baker. It's your weekly question about, asking a quarterback about the opposing team's quarterback. And Lamar is usually at a loss for words. He at least had a little bit more since he and Baker do have a history.
Strict kick when you play against another quarterback that was in your draft class?
No, I just want to win. I go out there and I look at every game the same way. And he's a tremendous quarterback. He has been since college. Ever since I've known him, even going back to Heisman. Both of us won Heisman the year back to back from each other. So yeah, a little bit. You can say we got a relationship a little bit from there. But outside of football, I really don't be around other quarterbacks. So I don't know. Every time y'all ask me about another quarterback, it's like I don't know what to say. Love the game. I love his game, man. He's still the same person from what I see. From afar, he's still the same Baker. Still making things happen for those guys.
2018 draft classmates, one on the front end, one on the back end, of course. On opening night, Baker went first overall. We know Lamar, 32 overall. And, man, their careers have gone in all kinds of different directions when you look at Baker and what happened in Cleveland. And now the resurrection of his career has been really fun to watch. He also spoke very highly of Lamar, not in all that much detail. I listened to his 11-plus minute press conference from earlier in the week, Sarah, but he did speak about who he refers to as his best friend because they were Oklahoma teammates in college, and that's Mark Andrews, and this is absolutely hysterical. You think Mark is dialed in right now, partner? You think Mark is a football guy? Just listen to Baker if you have any questions about whether or not those two things are true.
They're best friends. Him and I don't talk in season. He's a weirdo. He can't exactly, separate friendship and football. So he struggles with that on a year-to-year basis. So there's a few months at a time where we're friends again, but for right now, no.
What is that like then when you go?
It hurts. What's it like? It hurts. It hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings. Guy was in my wedding, won't talk to me. It hurts my feelings. Just gonna be honest. He's changed. He's got a very serious girlfriend. Some people think he's gone soft. I'm not one of those people, but the people are murmuring. There's whispers out there. So yeah, he's watched it on repeat for the last 6 months. Love you, Mark.
Wait, what has he watched on repeat for 6 months?
So Jenna Lane, ESPN.com reporter for Tampa, goes, as he watched The Notebook.
Oh,
and Baker's like, he's watched it on repeat for the last, so many months. So
you really are tight when you can get up there and troll another NFL player. Then you know that you literally are tight because everybody's looking to not give, bulletin board material and all that kind of stuff. And he's changed. I was taking a drink of my hot chocolate when he called him a weirdo, and I almost spit when I heard him.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Baker, nobody talks like Baker. That guy can run his mouth with the best of them. He is a grade A certified junk talker, and I love it. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He has had that since his days in college, of course, and then being drafted first overall. The fact that he wasn't I think he's always told these stories of how little recruiting came his way out of high school, but just, man, that guy, and to resurrect his career the way that he has with Tampa when there were multiple organizations that wrote him off. It'll be a fun reuniting for these two, being that Baker obviously got to know the Ravens quite well when he was a Brown.
Yes, he did. Bobby, before we get to quick hits, one obvious correction. Ray Lewis is from Florida. Ed Reed from New Orleans. Ray Lewis born in Bartow, Florida, May 15th, 1975.
Yeah.
1975.
Yeah, I was referring to more. I saw that in the live chat too.
Yeah.
People were talking lifetime Ravens. I was talking about the current Lamar era, but Eddie Jackson's another one of them.
Oh yeah, Eddie Jackson.
Eddie even talked about how, or I think Zay even mentioned that those two have been in each other's houses and their siblings know each other and whatnot. So yeah, South Florida ties run very, very deep in Baltimore for sure.
Quick hits. What is going on with one of the team that is tied with the Ravens right now for the lead in the AFC North. Are they going to move quarterbacks? Are they going to bench Fields and bring up Russell Wilson? As of right now, unless it's happened during the show and I missed it, there has been no official decision. But when you listen to Russ and you listen to Fields, you tell me which way you think they're going based off of their locker room sessions.
A year for me, but I've been fortunate to be in a lot of first games, so the confidence is there obviously. And then for me personally, I came here for one reason. That was to win the Super Bowl. That was to go as far as we could and see where we could go with it. I think we have that opportunity.
If I'm being real with myself, I think if I did play well enough, I don't think there would be any sort of who should be playing, who should not. So at the end of the day, I want to be 6-0 right now. But that was a great opportunity for me. Of course, I'm grateful for the opportunity I did get. Those first 6 weeks, and we'll just see what happens this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're heading in Russ's direction. Clearly.
Clearly.
Got to tip my cap to the way that Justin handled that press conference.
Sure.
Thought he was wise beyond his years. If you look around too, and I saw a few of these videos, clips from press conferences circulating on X, it seems as if there's some belief in that locker room based on, I think it was Najee Harris's interview, just how much Justin has made a first impression by how he's acting this, how he's taking this. And then, of course, what he's done, he hasn't been perfect, far from it, but he has led this team, whether in game manager role or not, to a 4-2 record through 6 weeks, and they're turning into Russell Wilson. It certainly looks like it. It's a tough pill to swallow, but one I'm sure that he was communicated to that it could potentially happen when that calf injury went down. And when Russ went down with that calf injury, I assume their plans were kind of thrown upside down, because it sure seemed like they brought Russ in to be the starter and to groom Justin, to give him a new chapter, a fresh start whenever that start would come.
Right.
And then it came early because of, again, Russell's setback.
Yeah, they were definitely going to go with Russ before he was injured. I've heard a lot of people say like this is the right move, but the wrong week, because the Jets have been so susceptible to the run, and Fields can do that. So obviously from a Ravens perspective, it's like, great, make the move the wrong week. Would love to see the Steelers put up an L this weekend. But yeah, I mean, that's gotta be tough on Fields, because now you've said, like, because from what I understand, he's not really moving the field down the ball, or not moving the ball down the field. And so it's great that he can like bring that extra threat as a runner, but he's not able to push the ball down the field. And I think that they want to see if Russ can do that. So he's played well enough to be 4-2, but certainly not well enough for Tomlin to be like, ooh, I wonder.
Yep.
Like, you gotta put that thought out of their mind. So we'll finish up with quick hits, but Thor, just so you know, we're getting to super chats. We appreciate your donation. He's a little upset that we're not there yet. Sometimes we like come to all of them at once. So we're coming at you. All right, just to finish with some of these quick hits. Remember yesterday we highlighted Bobby. Kyle Hamilton coaching up Nate Wiggins after he got called for that PI. So Ryan Meek noticed after practice yesterday, he said Nate Wiggins is getting an extra deep ball reps with Brandon Stevens and Devontae Walker after practice. Nate's working on getting his head around. So you could tell during that exchange that he was really bothered by it, and he's putting in the work to get it fixed. You gotta love it. You like to see it.
That's very encouraging. Yeah. Elsewhere, we've gone through a couple of these things related to Mike Evans. I mean, that'll be the one to watch going into the weekend. Again, this is Thursday in the NFL calendar for the Ravens and Bucs, with the fact that they're playing on Monday night, but his hamstring is something to watch. And like Greg said, even if he doesn't practice, he's so experienced and they have so much trust in this guy that he could still play without any practice. In terms of what the Ravens are injury-wise,
oh,
and we're
sorry,
going to get to Tyus.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I get you back. I thought that you just got stuck in no man's land there. There you go.
I know. We're always trying to help each other out, multitasking. But, look, Tampa's list is big, but we'll just watch to see again, outside of Mike Evans, I don't think that there's a ton to be concerned about here. Antoine Winfield Jr. returned recently. He's their talented safety. So just something to watch. But obviously Mike Evans, more so than anything else, deserves some attention here. And then as far as the Ravens are concerned, and this was Thursday's injury report, Rasheen Ali popped up with an ankle. He was limited. Malik Harrison and Deontay Hardy, who have both been unavailable in recent weeks, were DNPs with groin and knee setbacks, respectively. Arthur Maulette-Sarah is back. We'll see if that trends towards him playing on Monday night after going through that arthroscopic knee procedure at the end of the summer. Brent Urban, DNP with an illness, and Broderick Washington, who's also missed some time with that knee, was upgraded to limited on Thursday. Anything stick out to you there?
For week 6, that is not a terrible injury list. It's terrible for the guys that are on it, but my goodness.
Yep.
Nobody on there that you are like, ooh, the Ravens can't play without him. So an update on a mystery.
Uh-oh.
There's still some mystery left, Bobby, and I'll tell you what it is. But Brian Wacker of the Baltimore Sun spoke with Tyus Bowser recently, and he discussed with him the $4.5 million grievance that he's filed through the NFLPA against the Ravens. And so we're still trying to figure out what happened. So he gives us information on why he's filing it and all that kind of stuff, but there's still no information on how it occurred. But here's what he said, quote, I'm going into the year talking with the Ravens doctors. This was back going into last year, and he thought he was going to be able to play. The Ravens thought he was going to be able to play. They both thought he'd play. So he's taking us back to that point. Okay, I'm going into the year talking with the Ravens doctors. I was supposed to be back at the beginning of the training camp, and the injury lingered on throughout the season. You're expecting the people that you trust that is getting paid to help you to get back on the field, and they're not doing their job, he said. I went the entire year without knowing exactly why my knee was reacting the way it did, and then I go to somebody else for an opinion, and he tells me within 10 minutes what the problem is. Something as simple as an MRI you've seen millions of times. You can't see this simple thing. That's nobody else's fault but yours, saying it's the Ravens doctor's fault. So the injury, according to Bowser, was loose bodies or fragments of bone or cartilage that break off and float in the knee joint, causing pain, swelling, and limited range of motion that lingered for months. He was given platelet-rich plasma injections to treat it, but the swelling persisted, he said. At some point along the way, he also suffered a staph infection. It wasn't until December, according to Bowser, that an outside second opinion correctly identified the injury. It was a thing that could be fixed through surgery and going to clean out the knee, Bowser said, but I went the entire year without the doctors even knowing it. That caused me to miss the whole year. That could have easily been fixed, and I could have been back by the start of the season. So that's his story of why he feels he should have the $4.5 million back. Just so, in case anybody's wondering, because he was on the NFI list, which means he sustained the injury away from the Ravens facility, then you're put on a non-football injury list because it didn't happen on the Ravens watch. And so when you're on the NFI list, you don't get paid. If you're on IR, you do get paid.
Yep.
So that's why players are often encouraged to work out with the team, because if an injury were to happen with the team in the offseason, well, you still get paid.
Oof.
So that's Bowser's story. He's didn't explain how the injury happened, but he feels like the Ravens didn't diagnose him correctly. And so that's why he thinks he should have the $4.5 million. The other thing is players will often go out and get second opinions, and so it sounded like he waited till December to do that. So that's his side of the story. The Ravens don't talk about grievances, so I don't think we're going to hear their side of the story anytime soon. But at least now we know why it was lingering for so long from Bowser's point of view.
Yeah, certainly interesting given the Ravens team history in recent years, not necessarily with their medical staff, but with the strength and conditioning staff. We know there's been a lot of players, former players on record. I saw Justin just comment in the live chat about Derek Wolfe, and Justin sort of suggested that he would agree with this. But remember, there is some differentiation here. Tyus is taking issue with the medical staff, a team doctor decision and a team doctor evaluation, whereas Derek and others spoke about the strength and conditioning staff. That is a different section of the building, a different section of the organization. So maybe within that same umbrella, but different in terms of overall usage and whatnot. So that's all I'll say there, because there's just not a whole lot else to say aside from sharing Tyus's thoughts. The Ravens' chances to win the AFC North have increased to 70.1%, according to ESPN Analytics, as tweeted by Jameson. The projections to win the division entering Week 7, of course, Baltimore atop this list. Pittsburgh second with 23.3% odds. Cincy 6.3, and it's tough being in Cincy, right? Or excuse me, it's tough. Well, it is. It has been tough through the first 6 weeks being in Cincy, but not tougher than living in Cleveland right now if you're a Browns fan. Because according to ESPN Analytics, they have a 0.3% chance there of winning this division at 1-5, and they're flirting with disaster. Maybe they have already reached disaster. I don't know.
We will see. The highest graded defensive player against screens. Do not throw screens against the Ravens when Kyle Hamilton is in there, because since 2022, he's a 94.3. Grinning purple demon emoji. Bobby got mad at me this morning. I accidentally sent him a frowning purple demon emoji this morning because I was driving and I was doing the voice to text. And I said, purple demon emoji. And it just happened to pick the frowning one. And you did not like that.
No, I found it funny because Arthur did the exact same thing on X earlier this week, and we pointed it out.
Yeah.
And then you all of a sudden, I didn't know his voice to text.
Yeah.
But then you all of a sudden go with the frown emoji. I'm like, oh, okay, look at devilish on a Friday devilish, So
there we go. Final quick hit. You got it?
yeah, I do. Just because this is the follow-up and why there's a lot of great things happening on the internet, right? When sometimes the internet can work in law enforcement's favor, or just in general, the internet can be of assistance. And I think that was the case within this last week, because Baltimore police have announced that an arrest warrant for 24-year-old John, it's actually Jack, I think, Jack, or maybe his official name's John, but Jack Callis is the name that sort of was all over the internet because of what he did to those two Commander fans. So in connection to an assault that was captured on video, we all have seen it probably at this point, but Jack Callis looks like the internet did its job here. We all saw what took place in Fed Hill, and it sure seems like justice is going to be served here, Sarah, at some point. So
yeah, well, justice needs to be served. I don't know what, I didn't think I'd have to say this, but you can't go around randomly attacking people that root for opponents. That's just not a thing.
It was this. Yeah, we've said our piece on this. I mean, it was disgusting, just a heinous act, and what was even more disgusting, or just as disgusting, was the people that were bystanders as filming, as wanting to edit and film it for TikTok and social media clout. So anyway, he's charged with first-degree aggravated assault and 3 counts of second-degree assault. Let's get some super chats.
Let's do it.
This guy's been waiting. I mean, he's been chomping at the bit.
Thor was ready to go, was ready to explode on us here. We're here, Thor.
It's your turn, Thor. He still can't believe the fact that Derrick Henry is a Raven.
So true.
That's why he was so fired up. He just wanted to make sure that we understood that. And I think a lot of people feel the same way, Thor.
And
yeah.
Look, he used the grinning purple demon emoji. So he's on task here.
On demon time.
There we go.
Jang, flying out to Tampa to see the game. LFG Ravens.
Nice.
Enjoy yourself.
Oh,
and you gave us 2, by the way.
Oh.
Jang. Is it Jang? Hopefully I'm getting that right. Jang? Jang? I think it's Jang. Appreciate you. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be More Around Town's going down there as well. Brian Snyder is getting a great group on the road for that. Yeah. And Earl showing us some love. Best new informative sports show, The Vault.
Okay, Earl.
What about 90 minutes? I mean, we've already gone.
Don't tempt us.
75.
Listen, we went from 15, and then we could never keep it in 15. It's like, whatever, it's 15 to 20. And then we're like, all right, let's do a 30-minute show. And then it became a lunch hour show, 60. And then we frequently go over. We cannot keep expanding this, because if we say 90, we'll go 120.
Yes, we will. 90. We've given you 75 today. So there you have it. Yeah. But anyway, we appreciate you guys, as always, for spending part of your days with us. I would say lunch hour, but that's not the case. Shout out Nigeria. Shout out Johannesburg. Shout out South Africa. Shout out Germany. Shout out Portugal. Shout out to all of you. We appreciate you. Switzerland. We got a great Europe connection. And that reminds me, I have to figure out what I'm going to do for the bye week this year because my plans are not yet in stone. It's the first week of December, which is very late. But for the first time in several years, I don't have a sibling that's studying abroad in a really cool place. So I'm either visiting my sister in Denver or I'm going to do a solo backpack somewhere in Northern Europe. So the jury's still out on that. We will see. Always taking advice, suggestions if you guys would like to weigh in. And thank you for all of your never-ending feedback on my love life. I've received DMs. We've received comments in our YouTube section. You guys are hilarious. One day. Partner, great being with you.
So there's no updates, right? Like yesterday's episode didn't make it back to Devin.
As much as I was hoping that, you know what's funny though? I told you she's from Richmond. I got a random sales call from Richmond an hour after the show yesterday. I was like,
interesting.
Man, that is a weird.
No, you know what's weird?
11th hour.
Yeah, we got an 11th hour one. Oh yeah. Okay, so let me read this one. Zinks 32113. Hoping we get Mina Kimes in the vault. She's been the voice of the Ravens fans before it was cool. LOL. Do you know the background of this, Bobby?
Well, I just saw some tweets that we were tagged in. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So she quote retweeted one of my tweets a couple days ago. And when I tell you, Bobby, there was probably like 4 or 5 different Raven fans independently inviting her on our show. So the first 3, I just hit the like button on. And then finally on the 4th one, I respond to it. It was somebody named Mark. And I was like, Mark, you're killing it. I was like, the Ravens flock is the best booking agent that we have. And so I said, then I tagged Mina. I said, in all seriousness, it would be an honor to have you on. And so Mark's suggestion, I think the last time I looked, had 200 likes. Nice. And I know Mina reads her comments because she responds to them.
Cool.
But she has not responded to our invitation, Mark's invitation, my follow-up invitation. So, And there are a lot of Ravens fans who are, after Mark, after I was
this is Mark. This is Mark right here.
Oh, is this Mark?
Yep.
Oh, he's saying LOL. That's me.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark.
You're no longer hiding behind Zinks 3213, Mark.
Yeah.
We got you now.
A very unique name. Nobody would ever know. Anyway, so a lot of people started replying after that. Probably maybe 10 to 15 people were like, yeah, Mina, you got to do it. But she never responded. So the question is, do we leave it alone or do I quote retweet it and bring it to the service even more and put the full court press on?
I assume her DMs aren't open.
I didn't even look.
Okay. Yeah, they're not.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say you feel that out yourself. You make that call yourself, but I would love to have her on. I know she's been on local shows before. She's a Seahawks fan, huge Seahawks fan. So it would be cool to get her Mike McDonald perspective.
Sure.
And she's just tremendous across the board on NFL Live. So that would be really awesome. Goes without saying, though, Mark.
It'd be cool to have her on Monday, to be honest, while we're building up for the game.
Okay.
Just saying.
Now, the problem is Mondays in the sports world, when you are on NFL Live, I would assume that's the worst possible time for her, just given what day afters are like in that world. But hey, who knows? So yeah, it goes without saying, Mark and everybody else.
Argument.
When you guys stick your neck out there for us and tag people and tweet at people, man.
Oh, here's my next question, Bobby.
Really cool.
Is she in the black book? Maybe to go a more professional route rather than quote retweet her. She's not in there.
No, and it's funny. I just thought of that in my head, and then I was like, yeah, there's no chance.
Yeah.
But
okay, so DMs are not open. DMs are not open. She's not in the NFL black book. So I feel like this is the only way. This is we got to shoot our shot again, right?
There you go. I got an email address for you.
Oh, for Mina?
Yep.
All right. Boom. We'll go the professional route then.
I got you. So with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Pre-game will be at Michael's Cafe in Timonium, Maryland on Monday night. Looking forward to that if you guys are in the Baltimore County area. And then Sarah and I, of course, will be together for post-game. Pre-game exclusively on the Bobby Baltimore channel, post-game on the Vault, as always. And it'll be a late one, of course. with it being Monday Night Football. Let's get to some patrons before we jump. By the way, we're coming up on that 90-minute countdown that people wanted, so there you have it.
Yeah, but that's when we say 60, then we go 90. If we say 90, we'll go 120. So we got to keep saying 60.
Devin Conway, brother of Kelsey, who we've had on the show. Got to shout out Kelsey, Bengals
Not
reporter.
to be confused with the Devin that you fell in love with at the dog park.
Yes,
earlier.
we think. I believe Devin is, last time I checked, Devin Conway is Kelsey's brother.
Right.
But you never know. Alyssa Thomas and Devin, we appreciate you both. Thank you for the support that you give us, the investment that you make into our show. This is your monthly shout out. You guys can join out there if you're interested. The Vault Patreon community for as little as $1.99, or you can go up one level tier like Devin and Alyssa do for a monthly shout out. With that,
Bobby, real quick, I forgot one more quick hit. Sala Amuvai Laulu was re-signed to the practice squad. So we noted that he had been cut, but he's been re-signed to the practice squad. I just wanted to fit that in there. Sorry, you can close that now.
Nope, good call. I meant to put that in there as well. So they're not giving up on him yet. Guys, we appreciate you. Have a fantastic weekend. Going to be a busy one, partner. Can't wait to see what you're up to. I'm going to be hiking, and there's another. They're trying to get us to 90 minutes, aren't they? Habitual, are you trying to get us to 90 minutes? Is this what's happening here? Habitual says, if we lose Todd Monken, I want Mike McDaniel, someone who can't talk in the media. He will be harder to steal. Someone who can't talk in media.
Mike McDaniel isn't a good.
Mike's a great media guy. Right?
And to be honest with you, it doesn't, like, the media thing doesn't matter. It's like, can they lead a team? Can they put X's and O's together? Yeah.
Habitual, we appreciate you. You got me pondering that one as we close. Hope you guys
I'm not ready to move on from Monken yet. I'm not letting him go. I'm not giving up that easily.
Oof, boy, he's going to be a hot commodity. Are you kidding me? Look at what's happening right now. We're getting ganged up on. Elon says, let's get to 90 minutes. You guys are incredible. We're 7 minutes out of 90. And contrary to popular belief, I don't have any update on the dating game that can get us to 90 minutes. What I will tell you is I went to Nick's Fish House last night on a little function with a good girlfriend of mine, a friend that happens to be a girl from Loyola, and she invited me to this event as her +1. And I will say, I walked in there and I did meet a girl, a gal, young woman, who we sort of had some vibes going off together. She lived in Egypt at one point in her life, like an extended period of time with her family. And that's also where I traveled to when I was studying in Madrid. But is it bad that I've gotten to a point? Here I go. Maybe we will get to 90 minutes right now. Sarah's probably like, oh my, this was the most long-winded story ever yesterday. Here he goes again. He's trying to get us to 90 minutes.
No.
Anyway.
People are going to keep paying us to go an extra 4 minutes. I'm here for it.
I don't know. Sometimes I write people off so quickly.
You definitely do that.
So I'm trying to be, I'm looking inward right now and I'm speaking from the heart. I can sometimes be a little too quick to write people off. So I'm just holding myself accountable.
Well, and I don't know this whole digital dating world, because I think other people do this too, but do you not send either formal text or formal phone calls or whatever, after 2 or 3 dates, and you're like, this isn't working for me? Whereas when I was dating before all that, it was well, we don't keep going on dates, but you don't totally cut somebody off. You know what I mean? It's nah, I'm done exploring, and then you don't ever see him again. That seems to happen a lot since I've been listening to your dating stories.
Any chance I get to just call them up and make that clear instead of a text, depending on how many dates I've been on with them.
I assume you're doing it a good. Yeah. We got another one.
Yeah.
I assume you're doing it respectfully. I feel like you do everything pretty respectfully. I'm just saying, you make it official. Whereas, to me, back in my day, you didn't even have to make a breakup official unless you were officially together. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. Yeah. I guess there is more over communication these days. Thor hits us with a super chat in Iceland currency. Sarah is Armina and Bobby is our Dan Orlovsky. Those are comparisons that we can get behind. For
I
sure.
don't even think I'm worthy for such comparisons.
See, here's the problem. With me telling these stories, I don't want people to think that I'm some schlub. Like, I really am not lacking for confidence. Benjamin, I appreciate your super chat donation, but I promise you, I think sometimes I'm overly confident. I'll even be self-aware enough to say that. I'll take the Rashad Bateman angle here. I'll be self-aware. I think sometimes I can be overly confident. So the whole like Park story from earlier in the week, I didn't share that because it was deflating just because of the Baltimore dating scene.
Yeah.
But I wasn't walking away from that situation being like, oh man, I just couldn't pull trigger. No. It was more like I'm reading this situation and I think that she's either not interested or she's taken. And that's what kept me.
I think, listen, there's a fine line between showing interest and being creepy. And based off of how you told the story and her body language, you did it correctly. You showed interest, but you did not cross the line to creepy.
We're getting to 90.
Oh,
they're getting us to 90. Benjamin, by the way, this is pretty funny too, that Mostaforian commented in Benjamin with the wedding pic. Brilliant troll on Bobby. I agree. He's trolling me hard with that. Not only telling me that I got zero confidence, but also, hey, I got what you want and you don't have. I see what you're doing. Chef Trez getting us one more minute. This is incredible. Dreams coming through.
Yeah.
Bobby come across the state line and get you a VA woman. Dreams. Let me tell you. So Dreams called into my personal channel the other day, Sarah. He lives in Virginia.
Okay.
I love Virginia. And I happen to be going down to Shenandoah. Oh, Virginia is an amazing state.
Right.
Once you get down past Northern Virginia, it's freaking awesome. If you like the countryside, wineries, the history, right? Dreams lives in, I think, Central Virginia. I can't remember, Dreams, where you're at. Sorry, is it Virginia Beach maybe? I can't remember. But anyway, it's not Virginia Beach. I'm just forgetting it. But I'm going down to Shenandoah on Saturday. And it just reminds me that the other day, I know. Tilly's not happy that we're going this long. All right, Tilly, it's their fault. We keep getting super chats donated. I know. We're going to Patterson Park soon. Hopefully we see Devin. Listen, I extended my radius. We really got to go.
No, it's 1:30. We made it.
We really got to go. I extended my radius on Hinge the other day, and I met a girl that lives in Northern Virginia, and we've been chatting back and forth. And I happen to think that she is just this stunning brunette. I think she somehow works with like the United States government in some capacity. It's very secretive based on the way that we're texting back and forth. She's not been a timely somebody who responds timely. But I'm all in on Virginia. It's a long-winded way of saying that I'm going to be on the prowl Saturday in Shenandoah.
Okay.
Tilly's going to be with me.
Don't use
going to have my brother John. Sorry, yeah, that's a terrible word. That's a terrible word. That's an absolutely terrible word. I'm going to be attentive.
There we just crossed the line to creepy.
I'm going to be attentive on Saturday mid-hike. And with that, we really
we do have
before I get myself clipped.
Came in, though. We do got to give them shout outs. Elon Chase, $2, 90-minute Fridays. And then Dreams comes back and lets you know he's in Blackstone, Virginia, small town an hour from Richmond.
Okay, gotcha.
Dreams, do you ride horses?
Dreams is the man.
Horses nearby there? Because my husband loves horseback riding. And when we lived in Baltimore, by the way, we lived right next to this horseback riding training place. Mm-hmm. So only Gardner was old enough to do it at the time, but we put him, they were super cheap too. Like the horseback riding lessons were as cheap as if like you did like piano lessons. Like
nice.
Like 20, 25, $30 for an hour. Like it was like for horseback riding lessons. Anyway, we love riding them, but it's way too expensive out here in Ohio. I just wonder if Dreams,
let a guy know. Maybe John and Tilly and I will pop
you
by
take
tomorrow.
A date down there and go horseback riding. Get a picnic going on. Bring a charcuterie board, some sandwiches.
Let me tell you.
Oh, very nice.
The brakes are off. Things have completely unraveled here. We really get myself in trouble, but we have hit the 90-minute mark. And the 90-minute lunch hour live stream or the dinner live stream or whatever you want to call it has been hit on this Friday in October. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the Super Chat donations. As always, you can join the Vault Patreon community. You can like the video, which will really help us out on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a Ravens group message, you name it, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our live content. Enjoy your long weekends, assuming that you don't have to necessarily stress out on Sunday, but I'm sure that'll be the case on Monday night regardless. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Friday edition. We'll catch up with you on Monday. Have a great weekend, and as always, thanks for joining us here inside the Vault.